people would have 76 and slept for a couple of years. Because that's now what we're going to have to conclude. Every new player, right? If it's, 2 or 3 years after 2102, new players who are just now waking up in Vault 76, then just sleeping, playing Pinnacle, I would love to have that explained, right? On there in the storytelling. Enclave leader says Fallout 3/New Vegas 4/76 vertebrates. I mean, exact same vehicle, the Fallout 4/76 vertigo, feel weightier, feel chunkier, have better sound effects. I really enjoyed the cockpit of the Fallout 3. We got to really enjoy it during the Broken Steel DLC segment when we're flying away from the Adams Air Force Base, where we got to sit inside the... And we don't really get a moment or two like that. Or, I mean, you could say that when you're traveling to the Pridwin while with the railroad, or when you're traveling, perhaps you have a moment like that. Still, I think I like the Fallout 4 better. Zarteth says, have you seen the purple hate bunnies? Happy spooky month, all Ox. Well, I'm sure that's a reference to something, but I don't know what it is. Spooky month to you, Zarteth. Enclave leader says, cutting out. Is that just me?
For us, every day is refreshing. Whether it's delivering an order to a friendly customer or setting up a new...
Most people are saying that the audio is... Some people are saying that the audio is cutting in and out. Well, maybe what you're describing is clipping. I could turn the gain down a little bit. All right, I'll turn that down a little. Clipping, perhaps that's what you're talking about. Phoenix Prime says, Dragon Break, XD. I don't want any more dragons in my video games. I certainly don't want any dragons. Enough in Skyrim. And in Fallout 76, we've already got... Don't need any more dragons. AI on the Fallout character, the storyteller for a person on Fallout, is have a feeling you encounter him. I don't understand your question. Feel if Bethesda published a character name's called the Storyteller? Well, I think the Storyteller, or at least the online persona of another YouTuber who sadly retired or passed away sometime. So if that's the case, I mean, I know that his beloved, so that would be great. But I'm not sure what that. So I guess I don't quite understand the question. Right. Michael Ewan says audio is fine. Hope all is well. Michael Ewan, all is well. Starts 20 minutes to get those questions in. You've got questions about the Fallout universe, about Seed, any updates for Fallout 76, and my thoughts. Nick says, I know you wouldn't support evil, but morally practicable. Fallout universe, morally good or morally gray? not a relevant question because that one of those two categories is for surviving the wasteland, which isn't. It's not true. Like if you take up the sum morally good actions and choices that a person make in the wasteland, and you sum them up and measure against their, that's a thing to actually do. It's an impossible thing to actually. There are going to be some morally good choices that you make that will. There are going to be some morally gray and morally could make that will lead to your death as well. Which one has? I don't think there is such a thing, and I don't think that can even be. So the question itself, the premise, I don't think. That said, I will say, in general, there are a lot of people who presume that morally good choices are going to be taken advantage of. And while there is truth to that sentiment, I think that morally good people ally with other morally good people. You're a morally good person, and you're part of a morally good going to have an easier time finding people you can rely on. You're not going to have to worry about being, because neither of you are.
If you had to choose between the position to be the right-hand man, and second in command of Kaiser, Lanius, Colonel Autumn, Modus, or Eden,
only for self-preservation,
who would
and two
you
morally good factions of humanity, then the morally good factions are going to work together to make better choices, even at the expense of their betters of humanity. Whereas the morally evil factions and the Alliance are choices that benefit their particular faction, regardless of what happens. So, just in general, I think for surviving a wasteland. But it's impossible to quantify morally good choices and the morally great choices you could possibly make. Nick Valentine says, I suspect that they reset the... So for new players, they happen at the same time. And sounds still flipping for me as well? Really?
you had to choose between the position to be the right-hand man, like second in command of Caesar, Lanius, Colonel Autumn, Modus, or Eden, who would you choose?
Is it all the sound like my music as well, or just my voice? I'm gonna have to watch the replay later because that's really strange. I'm sorry about the audio issues, everybody.
If you had to choose between the position to
Ravin says Bethesda just uploaded a video about a huge map expansion for Fallout 76. Are you excited? Are you going to play some more Fallout 76? I'm moderately excited. I might play some more. Maybe. We'll see. Vampiric just says, are you in Season 2, lol? No, I'm not. And I've said that on many occasions. Many people have asked me, are you in Season 2? And each time I have said no, because I'm not in Season 2. I've also qualified that statement by saying that if I was in Season 2, I'd probably be bound by some sort of NDA saying that I wouldn't tell anyone that I was in Season 2, which means that to ask that question, I would respond by saying, no, I'm not in Season 2, even though I was in Season 2. But I'm not in Season 2. So, you don't need to ask again. I've answered it, and I'm not lying. That's the honest-to-God truth. And I'm really not lying, because that really is the truth. I'm not in Season 2. They've never approached me to be in Season 2. And when they talked about me being in Season 2, I'm not involved. If I was involved, I'd have to say that I wasn't involved, so. But I'm not involved. Trust me. Priscilla says, do you think the clubs from the New Vegas game, like the White Club Society, will be extinct? Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I think we've certainly seen that a lot has happened on this trip. I don't know. I'm going to say no. I think they're still there. I think they're going to make an appearance, but it's probably going to be small. Enclave leader says, if you had to choose between the position to be the right-hand man, like second in command of Caesar, Lanius, Colonel Autumn, Modus, or Eden, who would you choose? I guess I'd choose to be Colonel Autumn because President Eden gave Colonel Autumn a great deal of latitude to not only monitor the troops, but to also make decisions about where technology was going to be researched, the direction the Enclave was going in, so on and so forth. And that freedom allowed him to collect a lot of information about Eden, including the self-destruct code, right? Colonel Autumn had an enormous amount of power that he just didn't use. He could have ended Eden at any time and taken over the Enclave and sent the Enclave off in his own direction, but he chose not to because he wasn't quite ready to do that. Grindle says the audio is fine if you leave.
Good choice. You have access to Raven Rock Archive.
Refresh the page. I don't really see any issues on my end, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Perhaps it's on YouTube's end.
Good choice.
Nick Valentine says, I'll relaunch YouTube app to fix audio if needed. Awesome. Thank you, Nick Valentine. Brandon Belfed says, Ox in Season 2 would go to explain why he had to step away from streaming for so long. Now, listen, I know that, okay, the conspiracies are starting to swirl. I had to step away from streaming so long because my computer was gone, and I came back with a pretty convincing story. I mean, with a pretty convincing truth about where my computer has been the entire time. Go back to my last episode. I told the whole story. It was full of emotion and hand
Good choice.
It was extremely convincing because it was the truth and not the story that I concocted to cover for an absence where I might have been off shooting footage for Season 2, which I wasn't. That is all conspiracy. So you can stop it with the crazy conspiracy. Really. Fast Demolitia says, still waiting for a day one update where we can run around Appalachia as it was first intended. I had the most fun with Fallout 76 as a true lone wanderer, my sole mission to clean up the wastes. Yeah, I have to admit that my fondest memories of Fallout 76 were in the early days. That was when it was more fun to play in my first video. I mean, yeah, we've got events now and all of that, but it's, you know, you go to an event and you find 5 guys there in ridiculously non-canonical suits of power armor that are emoting with crazy sound effects, and then open presents showering graffiti everywhere, and then suddenly you're supposed to take serious a bunch of, you know, scorch beasts flying by and ghouls attacking you, and then you kill everything, but you don't even have to be there because they pull out guns that, you know, they've got, you know, millions of rounds for, and they just one-shot everything while you're sitting there clunking away with a weapon you had for the past 6 years of playing the game, and then you're just sitting there like, why am I doing this? Like, what is even the point? So, I told the girl, I said, well, do me a favor, put the money in the bag. Alt Grindle says, not you, Oxhorn. Oh, right, yeah, great, thank you. Alt Grindle, that makes sense. That makes sense. Enclave Leader says, good choice, we have access to Raven Rock Archive. Yes, I would. Lots of good info at Raven Rock. AI Radio says, do people ever tell you that you look like Jack Black? I have had that before. I've gotten Jack Black and Kevin